Hello, and welcome to the new Workforce Development video series for the Miguel Contreras Foundation, a 501c3 program. Today, we're going to start talking about financial literacy in 2020, how you can make the right moves for your future. So you may start by asking yourself, what exactly is financial literacy and how does it work for me? Basically, financial literacy is the ability to understand and properly apply financial management skills. This includes planning, properly managing debt, and looking into savings. You want to ensure that you have control over your finances and therefore control over your life. It's so vastly important because it plays a factor in everyday purchases. It could be something from going to the grocery store or filling up your gas tank to more large items like buying a home or a car. Unfortunately, so many people are just unaware of this because it's not typically taught or taught well in school. So now you may be in the middle of a transition. This may mean moving to a new city, a new job opportunity, or just altogether in a new phase of life. And with that comes so many questions and different thoughts. What should I do with my cash? There are so many credit cards out there. Which one's right for me? And with so many banks, how can I find the right one? ATMs or the right bank account? Throughout this video, we'll walk you through those steps so you can see what is perfect for you and you can take the right steps. So let's start with some of the basic principles of financial literacy. Never let expenses exceed income. You never want to spend beyond your means. This is something that's vitally important and can get people into trouble. If you spend too much on entertainment and other expenses at the end of the month, this will add up. Second, extra money at the end of the month should be saved. Now you can put this into a bank account with low interest, or we can talk later about more sophisticated methods of investments. But bottom line, save that money. You'll thank yourself in the end. And most importantly, plan for your future. It takes discipline, it takes planning, but yourself 10 years out will be thankful that you did it. Step one is the bank account. You probably want to go with something nearby in your neighborhood with easy ATM access so that you can avoid ATM fees, which can build up. You can consider any of the local banks, Wells Fargo, Chase, or maybe even a credit union. But basically, you want to have your paperwork in order when you arrive at the bank. First up, we can see identification. Most banks require two forms of identification. You can have a social security, your driver's license, your state ID, or a passport, even a birth certificate. These will all work. You want to have something that shows proof of address. A utility bill or even a cell phone bill will suffice. And complete the application, which you complete within the bank. Your opening deposit, you want to have at least $100 probably at first to avoid any charges that you may accrue. And set up a direct deposit. This is a good way to have your employer put your check directly into the bank so you don't have to cash your check or have cash on you. Just go to your ATM. Next up, the budget. You want to make your budget and stick to it. You probably want to play around with it for a month or two so you can get a baseline and see where your expenditures are and where you can save. So most people typically go off the 50-20-30 rule. This is spending 50% on needs, 20% on savings, and 30% on wants. An example would be, say you make $500 a week, for instance. This would come out to be typically $2,000 a month. With that kind of income, you don't want to spend more than, say, $600 on your rent. Now you have to make adjustments for what works for you and tailor fit it to you, but that's a general rule of thumb. And don't forget other factors such as utilities, parking, internet. They all go into the rent category. From that line item, you want to look over at transportation. Now, don't do an overall gloss of this. You don't want to just include your car here. You want to look at your car. You want to look at gas. You want to look at insurance. And even other factors, say rideshare, Uber and Lyft, or a Metro card if you use that on occasion. They all play a factor. And don't forget maintenance. That's important too. You may do it once or twice a year, but it goes into the overall yearly cost. Food expenses. We don't want to just look at what we're spending at the grocery store. You also want to include eating out, snacks, things like that. Again, these add up. These smaller expenses can add up over the week and over the month and become considerable. Entertainment. Now this is a tricky one. We always want to spend, we always want to have fun, but whenever cutbacks need to be made and we need to make an adjustment, it should come from this category. This is more of a want, say, as opposed to food that's more of a need. Look into certain apps like Undeaded. They're helpful. They can help you keep your budget, monitor it over the weeks, and can be useful going forward. Let's talk about these pitfalls. We always want to avoid those. Remember those payday lenders we talked about earlier? We want to avoid that altogether. That's why we set up the bank account. The payday lenders, they take too much of your check, too high a percentage. With the bank account, all of your check goes directly to your account and therefore to you. Credit card debt is another pitfall. So many people are susceptible to this. We don't want to overspend and not be able to pay off those debts at the end of the month. Remember, interest accrues. That interest will build on to the account and will increase month by month. So many people fall into a downward spiral because they're not able to take on the credit card debt. Loans are another one. This is tricky because sometimes we need to take out loans. Say student loans. You might be thinking about a night class, vocational training. You may need a loan for that. These are legitimate, but we want to manage that debt process. Look at what it costs month by month, put a line item into the budget, and make sure it falls within the budget. Those are some of the major ones, but if you can avoid those pitfalls, you can be well on your way to financial success. Now let's get into savings. Savings is key. It's not just putting away for a rainy day. You never want to live check to check. There's so much uncertainty in that, and as you get older, you want to have more stability. Savings allows you to do that. Plus, you never know about uncertain, unknown situations, a sudden job loss, a downturn in the market, even global pandemic. These are all issues we have to prepare for, and savings helps us with that. Remember, don't spend beyond your means. Save your resources, and this will help you. Eventually, when you save enough, your money works for you with additional investments in stocks and bonds, which will be discussed at a later point. So congratulations. If you made it this far, you're more than halfway there. The final point we want to emphasize is to plan. Always plan for the future. Set smart goals and make future plans. You may not want to track every dollar eventually, but when you're just starting off, this is a good idea. It gives you an idea of daily spending habits and how that works. But you want to be a smart consumer. Always be a smart consumer. So let's recap. The main takeaways you want to have here when walking away from the video are to never let expenses exceed income. Remember, never live beyond your means. Extra money should always be saved. That's why we set up that bank account. You can track your progress month by month. And lastly, plan for the future. With all of these skill sets in hand, you're sure to be a success. Congratulations and good luck to you.